being there for other people and loving other people and showing up for other people. But first, before you can do that, you have to show up for yourself. Are you keeping the promises that you made to yourself? Because the more promises you keep with yourself, the more respect you earn for yourself, and the more confident you end up becoming in life. Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of Breaking Glass. Stop. Thank you so much for tuning in. This has been such a passion project of mine that I've been wanting to do for quite a few years. Actually, been planning it for the last couple of months, and I'm just so excited to have this platform to talk to you all. One, get to know you all and spread knowledge and wealth, not only through what I've learned, but also by talking to other women in business, entrepreneurs who have also prioritized mind, body, and soul all in one. I think that's so important. So today's episode is really going to be about why I started Breaking Glass, a little bit about my journey, and just the mindset of starting something new. So Breaking Glass is really coming from the corporate saying, breaking glass ceilings. And if you know me, I am a corporate girly and I have been for quite a few years. Corporate girly with an entrepreneur spirit, I will say that. But I really love the corporate world because it allowed me a space to be confident and break through quite a few things, mainly because of, financial reasons. It really gave me such a financial ground for the rest of my life that I value and care so much about. So really the phrase came from the corporate world, right? Breaking glass ceilings. And the idea of the phrase is the fact that every day, whatever background you come from, specifically if you're Hispanic or Black or a woman or whatever it is that you identify with, it's breaking through these barriers that life puts against us. And I really wanted to call this podcast Breaking Glass, and this community space really, which is going to be much more than a podcast, Breaking Glass, because I really wanted to have a space where we can talk about uncomfortable things and be real for a second about all the things that we break through in all parts of our lives, whether that means financial, whether that means mindset, corporate, business, relationships. We're all breaking through something in our lives. And if we're not, we are trying to get to that mindset where we do. And I really wanted to have those conversations around how to break through these things, right? And offer some tools and advice based on the things that I've experienced. And I wanted to share a little bit about my life, and we're going to talk about it more as we get through the season. But I think for me, I grew up first generation American, and I was the first to go to corporate America. I was the first to have big girl job, first to graduate, first to move away, to live independently and just build a life. A woman of many firsts, to say the least. And it's something I'm really proud of, but it definitely comes with its tolls mentally. And the last couple of years, I've really prioritized my mental health, who I want to be, and really stepped into that power and became the version of that girl that I wanted to be, not what social media wanted me to be or what that girl was supposed to be, but really just truly feeling aligned with myself. And through years of therapy and finding the right relationships and friendships in my life and creating boundaries and doing all these things that could allow me the space and the mental stability to be able to launch something like this has been a beautiful journey, and I'm so excited to share it with you all. Starting something new can feel really scary, and I definitely felt that through Breaking Glass. So this episode, I wanted to talk a little bit about my journey. Not a lot of people know this, but the past couple of years, I have really been focusing on myself. I think a really big catalyst for me was when I left my last relationship. I feel like I hit a personal rock bottom. Granted, my rock bottom was not that bad in the grand scheme of things, or at least for where I was in my life, it felt really bad. I had left a relationship of 3 years. We had gone through our ups and downs. There was definitely some toxicity there just due to immaturity and compatibility. And, we lived together. So I moved back in with mom and dad, and I really felt like I zeroed out in life. You know, like I didn't have my career, I didn't have my self-love, I didn't know who I was, I didn't have a relationship or someone to be dependent on, I guess you can say. And it was a really defining moment for me to either let life happen to me or was I going to let life happen for me? And a light just switched on to me and I decided to take my life more seriously, to be honest. When I was in that relationship, I don't think that I really truly prioritized myself and the things that I wanted and like really went for it. I've always had a very ambitious personality and I've always dreamt big and wanted to do big things. But when I entered that relationship, I still had that. But I think as things went on, I lost a lot of myself and I lost my spark. And I'm sure a lot of women and a lot of you guys can resonate with that. And that was the start of Breaking Glass and from a concept perspective. And I really spent the years after that just really being independent. I didn't date for the first 2 years of my singlehood, I guess you can say. Now it's been 4 years. And I did that big part because I just really wanted to spend time with myself and learn myself. What did Cindy like? What did Cindy like to wear? It was so bad, guys. I really did not know myself at all. I think that was the scariest part of that time of my life. You know, it wasn't so much about who I didn't have, it's the fact that I looked in the mirror and I had no idea who was looking back. In retrospect, I really think that was an important moment for me because it is literally the reason why I am the way I am today. You know, I have strangers come up to me sometimes to be like, you just exude independence. You just exude that you love yourself. And it's truly a place that I love being in. It took me a long time to get here, for sure, to find that spark, to find that flame again after not knowing who you were for such a long time. But I am so excited to be here and to share everything that I've learned along this journey. Breaking Glass is not just going to be about relationships. It's also going to be about business and corporate America and navigating that. And sometimes we're going to talk about how to manage your life from a financial perspective or from your relationships in your life, your friendship. And we're going to bring on some pretty amazing women that have done amazing things and they're entrepreneurs, and mindset has been a big part of that as well. And a little bit about dating because, you know, it's got to be some fun tea. Breaking Glass, I will say, is not just going to be a podcast. It's going to be so much more. I really want it to be a space for resources for women where they can come to and find advice in all areas of your life from like a 360 perspective. Even wellness. Wellness has been a really big thing in my life, especially in recent years. I have PCOS and girls know that it is a struggle. It is difficult. It really truly is something that can really affect all walks of your life. And I've been on this journey of healing my body and I'm so excited to talk about that. And I don't mean it just from like a physical sense of what I'm eating, anything like that. I also mean it from like a nutrient perspective, from like vitamins, from like a mental health perspective, and just all the things. And being alone for 4 years can teach you a lot, guys. It's actually insane. I look back at myself from 4 years ago when I am so grateful to say that I don't know that girl and I never want to know that girl again. And that version of me is the reason why this version of me exists now. So I don't regret a single thing. I'm so grateful for everything that I've experienced in life. And yeah, and everything that I will continue to experience with this newfound mindset that I hope to share with you all. Today specifically, I really wanted to focus on starting something new because as much as I've poured into myself and I've done all the things, I've done the self-love dates, and we'll get into all those self-love things, there is one part of me that I was so scared to reignite, and that is my passion for entrepreneurship. I grew up being a part of entrepreneur parents, right? I love them so much because of that, and they taught me so much about life through business. And I think they're a big reason why I love business so much. I would literally sit down with my dad and he would be talking to me about all the business things that he was going on in his life and all these sales things. And he really taught me to be an independent woman. I didn't really learn that till much later, but he did instill that in me. And it's something I'm so, so grateful for, the way that they raised me. But having this entrepreneurial spirit, I had a business a couple years back, and through that relationship, it just kind of went downhill. I just didn't focus as much attention to it because I lost my fire, and I was so scared to enter this world of entrepreneurship again, of starting something new. There was quite a few things that were holding me back. I was so scared of starting something new but I started to reframe my mindset a little bit. I just really wanted to reignite this because there was something inside me that just like wanted more out of life. Right? I wanted and craved something, and I knew it was to build something unique and beautiful and special. I've always been a very lovey-dovey kind of girl. All my friends can tell you that. And I've been a really big advocate for my friends and their business and the things that they want to pursue in life, like beyond just the business, but all the passions that they want to pursue. And I've always been like number one hype man. And I wanted to create this space that does that for women. And really, I feel like in turn will add so much value to my life, getting to know women who are doing spectacular things. I think the thing about starting something new is that I really had to ask myself like what it is that something I really had to ask myself as I felt unfulfilled essentially in life is who was it that I wanted to be? Like what was it and who did I want to become? I had made it through all these versions of my life and I still was craving something, and I love business. I am a businesswoman. It is who I am. It's in my blood. Shark Tank is my thing. If you're a Shark Tank watcher, we're gonna be besties for sure. But I just loved it. And I really had to ask myself in the mirror, like, who was I going to be? What is the dream version of my life? What friends did I want to have? What hobbies and activities that I wanted to be doing? Like, I really needed to get out of this zombie scroll that I was stuck in for like a hot minute there, right? And discover like, who the F did I want to become? Who the fuck did I want to become? Better said. I'm gonna curse on here, so that's just gonna be our vibe, guys. I think essentially it just really goes down to like doing an audit of your life. And I think that I desperately needed to do that. I was kind of coasting by within my career that I love so much, but I really had to do an audit of my life, right? I wanted to start this podcast. I wanted to create this community, and I'm sure you guys can resonate. If you've ever wanted to start doing something new, you have to ask yourself, what is it that I need to let go of to allow for space for something else, right? Because things don't just like pop up and happen. You have to make things happen. As much as you want to manifest and do this, that, and the third all day, and while there's a layer of that from like a mindset perspective, there's also application. You need to be putting down the work to be able to actually build your dream life, or things don't just come to you, let alone overnight. I really had to audit these mindset shifts in my life and decide, okay, one, I need to stop caring what other people think. I need to block out the noise, because if I continue to think about what other people think of me, I'm literally never going to go anywhere. And the places that I'm going to go are places where everyone else wants me to be. They're going to put me in this box, and I no longer want to be in this box. Number two, I really needed to get clear on why I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I've talked to a few business women about this. If you're not clear on your why, you're not going to be prepared for those moments that you have to bulldoze through, which is those moments of insecurity and am I good enough, and all these things that like our mind tells us, especially as women. So you really have to be clear on your why, so that whenever you're feeling those moments of doubt, you go back to that feeling of why you started this from the beginning, and you fucking lean on that like hell. So that was number two. Number three, I think it was also really important to change the things that I listen to. And I know that sounds so small. It is so large. Everything you consume literally alters the way that you think about life, essentially. Whether it be music or the news or whatever it is that you choose to consume, books, reading, you start to put your mind in that world, in that reality. And as we know, thoughts become things. What you think of becomes reality. The more you think about it, the more of a reality it becomes, right? I really needed to stop the doomsday scroll, this zombie scroll that I was on, and get serious about my time, get serious about my life, and get serious about what I wanted to do. Because again, no one's gonna do it for me. Unfortunately, as much as I would love to be a stay-at-home mom, I also know that's not the life for me necessarily, because we're ambitious women, and I don't think that you guys would want that either. And I think the last one is the most important, and I feel like I was kind of alluding to it a little bit earlier, but it's the respect that you give yourself. Are you keeping the promises that you made to yourself? Because the more promises you keep with yourself, the more respect you earn for yourself, and the more confident you end up becoming in life, and the higher your standards. And my single girlies know that those standards are so so important. And even beyond relationships from like a romantic sense, it's also important to have that layer of respect as you navigate friendships or your relationships with your family. Everyone that you have in your life, it is a relationship. We oftentimes only prioritize the romantic parts of our lives, but we forget that we also have other relationships to maintain. Please, for the love of God, do not be that girl that prioritizes men in their life, like only men and the men in their life, right? And by men, I mean literally the people that they have a fling relationship with or whatever, a situationship, because the other relationships in your life are also so important. I would argue even more important, because your best friends, and I've had friends for so long. I have had friends for 10, 15, 20, 25 years. 25 years? Yeah, I do have one friend of 25 years. I hope that didn't age me. Oh my God, that totally did. But it's okay. I have friends from decades long, and a big part of that is because I've spent most of my life single, and I've prioritized my girlfriend, where they play a role in my life. And of course, relationships can also be important, but your girlfriends are there for most of your life. I mean, who knows if this guy will stick around in your life? Let's be real. Sometimes it feels like guys only last like for such short seasons in our lives. I think it's super important to also prioritize the other people in your life that fill your cup, that give you love in different ways. And kind of going back to, I think, really having that respect for yourself, you are able to fill your cup so much where you're able to also fill someone else's, right? And that's the biggest part about life, being there for other people and loving other people and showing up for other people. But first, before you can do that, you have to show up for yourself. So that is keeping the promises you had to yourself and being consistent. And that doesn't always mean in like a business sense, right? I know that for me right now, this means a podcast and being consistent with it and being on top of it and recording my episodes and editing and all these things that come with it. But for you, it may be a fitness journey, right? Or it may be just putting yourself out there on social media. It could mean going for that promotion in your office. It doesn't always have to necessarily mean one thing, but I think it's just setting a goal for yourself and really going for it and giving yourself the respect that you deserve to at least try. And I think that's been the biggest thing for me with Breaking Glass, is I was ready to try. And I really hope that you guys are ready to also do the same with whatever it is that you're doing in your life. And I really encourage you to practice these approaches to life to help you settle in with the right framework to be able to go towards your goal and be confident in doing so. I know today was a short and sweet one, but I really appreciate the time that you took to listen in, and definitely stay tuned for so much more. I have so much in store for Breaking Glass. There's going to be so many women coming on talking about some really fun stuff and also some really deep things. We get really deep over here, so prepárate. Thank you again, and looking forward to more episodes to come about so much. So thank you so much, guys.